This article just came out last month, and I've seen a lot of people talking about it. Are homicides really down 51% in Portland, Oregon for 2025? And is it really the steepest decline amongst large U.S. cities? And what does the rest of crime look like in Portland right now? Things like burglary or assault. In this video, I've got the data from the Portland Police Bureau. We're going to dig into it, and some of these things I'm going to show you might surprise you. Stick around. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Seth Marchant, licensed real estate broker in the state of Oregon and Washington. Or if you're new to this channel, living in Oregon, we show you what it's like to live here. Most of the videos are going to be introducing you to neighborhoods. We've got lots of driving and drone footage. We've got over 200 videos on the channel really designed to give you a feel for what it's like to live in the Portland, Vancouver metropolitan area. So if you want to see more of those, check those out on our channel. Make sure and subscribe, and you'll get new updates every single week. And periodically, we'll do videos like this. I've done these maybe about once a year in the past, covering what crime is like in Portland, Oregon. This is something that comes up, as you might imagine, with Portland being in the news quite a bit over the past 4 or 5 years or so. And as a licensed real estate broker, as a realtor, I'm not supposed to speak directly to our clients about crime because it can be very, very subjective. What's high to somebody might be low to another person and vice versa. But I can speak to you more broadly as a YouTube audience and specifically going over data. So I'm not really going to share any of my opinions. I'm not going to tell you whether I think crime is high or low. I'm just going to show you the numbers and let you decide for yourself. I'm also going to take a look at some of the other major cities in the United States so you can compare Portland to give you a little bit more context. And I want to start by digging into this article. I've seen a few similar articles like this over the past month or so. So Portland homicide drops 51% in 2025. Portland has recorded the steepest drop in homicides this year among the 68 U.S. cities represented in the Major Chiefs Association, according to data released from this organization. Now, if you'd like to see this, I'm going to include this link, this PDF that includes all the data in the description of this video. So if you want to see for yourself, you can do so. I've exported this data into a spreadsheet, so it's a little bit easier to digest. And I'm going to get to that in just a moment with you. It says the survey counted 17 homicides in Portland through June compared to 35 the year before. So that's part of what we're going to look at here is the number of homicides. And then, like I mentioned, we're going to look at some other crimes as well. But first, before we take a look at that spreadsheet, a lot of questions we get from people are, where are some of these things happening? This is the website neighborhoodscout.com, which has a lot of information. As you can see, there's information on demographics, schools, real estate. We help people relocate from outside of the state of Oregon and Washington. And so we get a lot of people that are also looking at this website. It usually tends to come up pretty high in a Google search. And if you've watched my videos before in the past on this topic, I always do want to caution you on these heat maps because sometimes they can be deceptive because you're lacking context. You can see that the darker color is the most dangerous, the lighter color is the safest. But again, crime being subjective, what is actually more dangerous to one person compared to another is going to be hard to say. But just with the information that we have looking at this heat map, on the west side of the river, this is where downtown Portland is. You can see you're going to find with this heat map that it is a higher crime area in downtown Portland. Now on the northeast side, the north side, the east side, the southeast side, it's going to be a lot more mixed. You're looking at some of these areas that are lower crime areas, Grant Park, Laurelhurst, one of Portland's most beautiful parks. I covered Laurelhurst in my video where I covered some of the top parks in the Portland metropolitan area. I also made my way over to Mount Tabor too. So some of these areas might be familiar to you. Grant Park actually is Grant. This area is, if you ever read Beverly Cleary's books when you're a kid, I did, and I've started reading them to my kids recently. This is actually where she grew up, and it is a very nice area. The outskirts of this over here, this is going to be Washington County, and down below to the south-southeast, this is going to be Clackamas County. A more broader picture, this is from citydata.com. Again, the darker colors are going to represent a higher rate of crime. Lighter colors are going to represent a lower rate of crime. This orange that you can see right here is for the most part Multnomah County. Over here is Beaverton, Tigard, Hillsborough. This is where Washington County is. And then down here to the south, southeast, Milwaukee, Lake Oswego, Happy Valley. This is where Clackamas County is. Now, let's get into some of the actual data from Portland Police Bureau from January of 2025 to August of 2025. So year to date, they actually have homicides at 25. Again, this article right here referenced homicides being at 17 through June. So that's not including August. And again, that data is taken from the Major Cities Chiefs Association. And I believe, it doesn't say on here, but I believe they should be pulling this data from the Portland Police. See right down here, scroll down to Portland, Oregon Police, 17 homicides this year, 35 homicides last year. So Portland Police has it listed as 25 homicides so far this year. Let's take a look at the previous year. So this is also from the Portland Police. Prior year to date, they have 50 homicides listed. Again, 25 so far for this year. So that does align with your percentage change, almost 51%. But the overall numbers slightly higher than what we see listed in that report. I'll come back to this and talk a little bit more about some of the other crimes, but before we do, for some greater context, it's definitely interesting to look back to, let's say, January of 2019, before we had lockdowns. So January of 2019 through December of 2019 and into 2020. This is kind of right around when lockdown started here. April of 2020 actually had 0 homicides. And if you look forward to July of 2020, that's 15 homicides. That's the most that we've had going back about 6 years or so. So things have tapered off over the past year, but certainly nowhere near where we were pre-lockdowns. So homicide has gone down, but what about other crimes? Assault. Year-to-date change down 4%, but yearly change actually up 1%. And this is what it looks like, again, going back to January of 2019. So overall trending down since lockdown, since 2020, but not quite down from last year. Sex offenses slightly down, 5%. Burglary, which we've heard about a lot in the past, down 5%. Motor vehicle theft down 30%. I've definitely heard about some people who had their car stolen in the past couple of years. And then look at this one down here, drug offenses up 226%. Now, I'm going to guess that that is due to the measure that we had that was repealed that made all drugs legal. That's been repealed over the past year and a half, something like that or so. How about nationally? Where does Portland fall nationally as far as homicides? This is just an overall number. I'll get to percentages in just a moment, at least percentage change versus last year. You can see Chicago's down quite a bit, but still significantly higher than the rest of the country. New York, Houston, LA, Memphis making the top of the list. Portland, Oregon is down here at number 35. Again, this is data that I pulled from this PDF right here. So that's why it says 17 and 35. But how about as a percentage change? Has Portland had the steepest decline in the country? Well, that same data shows us that Tampa, Florida had 22 homicides in 2024 and 8 so far this year at a negative 63% change. Honolulu, 56, Orlando 53, and then there's that 51%, Portland coming in at 5. So Portland hasn't quite recorded the steepest drop, but pretty close. So where are homicides going up? Nassau County, Suffolk County, those are both on Long Island in New York. Boston, Massachusetts, Montgomery County, Baltimore County, Maryland, El Paso, Fort Worth, Virginia, Mesa, Arizona, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Arlington, Sacramento, Tucson, Raleigh, North Carolina, and Jacksonville, all seeing an increase so far this year over last year. So it looks kind of like some mixed results. In general, over the past couple of years, I think a lot of this data has shown that Portland has been trending in a good direction. So regardless of what data that you're looking at, it does look like homicides are down about 50% so far this year, which is for a lot of people the most important metric as to how safe or not they feel in a city. There's been polling in the past that have shown that a decent chunk of people that living in Portland have not necessarily felt safe just being out on the street, walking around, or at nighttime. So it'll be interesting to see how this new data and how the homicide rate going down might affect how some people feel the next time we see some polling about these things. And I'll cover one more thing before we go, because this kind of ties into some of the things that we get asked about and does kind of tie into crime. And let me show you how and why. So Portland mayor plans to start citing homeless campers. This article just came out yesterday. There was a period of time under the last mayor, Ted Wheeler, where he said, I'm not going to tell people that they can't camp wherever they want. And so people did for a long period of time. And then there was a camping ban. And then there was sort of they just stopped enforcing it for a while. So it says Portland Mayor Keith Wilson plans to soon resume enforcing the city's homeless camping ban after a months-long hiatus. City first responders and teams of social service workers will spend the next several weeks doing outreach about the camping ban. We'll need to educate folks on the street on what the rules are, what they are able to do, and what they are not able to do. And he goes on to say, we cannot arrest our way out of homelessness, nor should we. The mayor said we must, however, return to enforcing our city's existing codes on open drug use, illegal dumping, blocked rights of way, fire, and other sanitation and quality of life issues. The camping ordinance, which went into effect July of 2024, prohibits people who have been offered reasonable shelter from camping on public property or rights of way. Wilson has been reluctant to impose those rules while he's been working to increase the number of overnight shelter beds in Portland, the central ingredient behind his ambitious plan to end unsheltered homelessness by December 1st. In August, the mayor told the Portland City Council the police stopped enforcing the camping ban in February, just 1 month after he took office. The mayor really wanted to get services online before we engaged in any kind of citation for those types of time, place, manner violations. For those who did not accept the services, this is a tool in the toolbox for the police that they will be able to start using again. And then they emphasized that enforcement will focus on citations and not punitive measures. The citation piece is not an arrest. She said it's just a time, place, and manner violation citation. So the reason why I point this out is this article just came out last week. Former MMA fighter sentenced for raping, strangling 3 unhoused Portland women in their tents. This occurred between October 24 of 21, March of 2022, and then October of 2022. It goes on to say that it's a problem for the unhoused, especially women, to face far too often, according to Blanchett House Executive Director Scott Kerman. It's a significant problem because houseless people in general and people who are unsheltered are extremely vulnerable. And because they're so vulnerable, they are susceptible to being taken advantage of and manipulated. So the situation and crime is going to tie into each other, because the more people you have out on the streets, like that article mentioned, the more people you're going to have that are vulnerable and susceptible to crime. So hopefully some additional beds paired with outreach and enforcement can help to get some more people off of the streets. Again, we don't make these videos too often on crime. It is very, very subjective. And frankly, it's not really a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I don't exactly get excited about making videos on these topics, but a lot of people ask us that are moving to this area about this specific thing. So if you want to see more videos that are more geared towards introducing you to neighborhoods, getting you a feel for the pros and cons, what it's like to live in the Portland metropolitan area. Again, we've got over 200 videos on our channel released every single week, so make sure and subscribe to the channel or visit our channel now for more videos. And if you have any questions about buying or selling a home in Oregon or Washington, I invite you to call, text, email, however you want to get in touch. You can find all of the contact information in the description of this video below. And I know this is a sensitive topic, so if you want to reply, please keep the replies civil. And if this video helped you, hit that thumbs up button, give me a like. It lets me know that I'm doing a good job. And until next time, take care, everyone.